Do you want to win more matches? It all starts with the very first ball that you feed in the warm-up before you start your play. Kevin right here is going to feed down the center of the court, and the very first thing he's going to look for is his opponent left-handed or right-handed? That is a huge advantage or disadvantage to knowing that before you start your match, because you'll know whether your forehand is to their backhand or your backhand is to their forehand. The next thing you want to do is you really want to feed it to your opponent's backhand side and see if they run around and take a forehand, just as Ian did in the very beginning. If they're mainly taking forehands, that probably means that they favor that shot and that you can use that to your advantage in the match play to take advantage of their backhand side. Now also during the rally, you want to see if your opponent can handle the high, heavy ball. Do they back up as Ian did there and just hit a defensive ball back into the court? That's going to show you that you can use this ball to your advantage. Or do they step up and take it on the rise and look to neutralize it? And are they effective when they're able to take it on the rise? Those are all things that you can kind of put in the back of your mind for when the match starts. Another thing to look for is, do they have something that just looks a little weird and they have a janky stroke, as Kevin has here, which means when it's not technically sound, that means it has a tendency to break down. You can use this to your advantage to really go in and hone in on that shot anytime you're on the offense. We've examined the high balls, but now it's really time to look at the low balls. Can your opponent handle a low ball like Ian is hitting to Kevin? One thing you can also look for is if they have a full Western grip really far over their extreme, it's very difficult to hit low balls, so you can use that to your advantage when you start to play out points. The second thing you usually warm up after your ground strokes are your volleys and overheads. If you're looking for exactly what you should be warming up and for how long, go back and refer to our last tutorial called the 10-minute warm-up. It goes all of that in detail for you. This one is all about what you really should be looking for while your opponent is hitting volleys and overheads so that you can use that to your advantage during the match. The first thing you want to look for when your opponent comes up is, do they actually take volleys? You'd be really surprised how many people don't even take volleys because they don't feel comfortable at the net. That will tell you something about your opponent. And how close are they? As you can see, Ian is standing on top of the net right now. When you're that close, in most cases, the technique is not very good, which means they don't feel comfortable mid-court taking volleys or around the service line or even halfway up to the net. So use this to your advantage when you bring your opponent in during match play. The last thing you really want to look for is, can they hit high volleys and can they hit low volleys? Mix it up a little bit, make them hit a little bit of both. As you'll see here, Ian is really struggling with the low volley. So Kevin might hit a few of the low volleys in a row and really see, okay, is he consistent? Can he make the ball? Or is that something that I need to look for to take advantage of anytime that Ian comes to the net when we're playing? Next, after volleys, we go into the overhead. And as you'll see, Ian's asking for overheads right now, which is the very first thing you want to look for. Does your opponent even take overheads? Which you'd be surprised how many times that doesn't happen either. And if they do, are they consistent and controlled while hitting the overhead? Or do they just go for broke and make a lot of errors and try to hit all over the place and as hard as they possibly can? You can use that to your advantage while you're playing and understand whether a lob is going to be effective during your match play. Now we move into the serves and returns part of the warm-up. Really pay attention, if you are the returner, to, is the server taking first serves and second serves? Can you differentiate between the first serve that they hit and the second serve that they hit? What kind of spins are they hitting? Which ones seem to be effective and consistent? Or are they just blasting balls with no idea where the ball is going? The other thing you want to think about is placement. Are they only going to the down the tee area? Are they going only out wide? If they're only hitting serves to one spot over and over and over and over again, likely that's their comfort zone and that's the serve that they're going to go to when things get tight. When we're talking returns, the first thing to think about is, do they take returns? So many times people don't even take any returns when you offer them to them, and that's a very good indication that you should serve first because they might not feel comfortable with their return. The next thing you want to look for is, are they mixing up returns? So here, is Kevin using a chip? Is he able to chip from both sides? Does he have trouble chipping from one side? This might be an indication that he feels uncomfortable on that side, and so he's going to the chip just like he did right there on the backhand side. The next thing is, does he try to use different spins, or is he just blasting the ball all one speed, 100 miles per hour, and hoping that the ball is going in on the return? That's going to be a good indication also that they may not have much variety in their return, and so you might get some easy points and not have to go for huge serves all the time. So many times when you go out to that warm-up right before your match, you just hit balls and you're just going through the motions and you're not really using it to your advantage. It is the key to success when you start from the very first point. The next time you're out there and you're doing that 10-minute warm-up before your match, make sure you're focusing on the other side of the court and what's going on and the key elements that you can use to start the first point off right when you start that first game.